Hey everyone, if you're building a new computer or maybe upgrading it, you might have some confusion about standoff screws. You know, the things that go under the motherboard and attach to the case to make sure that the motherboard is held in place, but also that there's no shorts, you know, that the underside of the motherboard doesn't touch the case and cause a short or anything like that. You might actually be wondering, does your new motherboard that you've got on pre-order or whatever, does that actually come with standoffs or standoff screws? Because if not, it might be that you've ordered a case which doesn't have any standoffs, maybe you've bought it used on Facebook Marketplace or something, and obviously if your motherboard also doesn't come with it, you might think you're completely stuck because you just don't have any standoffs. Well, the short answer is that some motherboards actually do come with standoffs and standoff screws, but some of them don't, which isn't very useful, I know, but basically, it's not really something the motherboards advertise. You're not usually going to see, a listing for a motherboard and it says, it comes with 6 standoff screws or something like that. Often it's a bonus if they're included, but I wouldn't rely on the fact that a motherboard does include standoffs or the standoff screws. And the reason for that is the actual number of standoffs you need can vary depending on the case. For example, a small form factor MITX case might only need, 4 standoffs in a particular location, but a much bigger case supporting like E80X motherboards might need a lot more standoffs, and that can vary per case. And that's why sometimes motherboards don't always come with standoff screws, because, should they include like 8 of them or should they include 4 of them, depending on the form factor, it's kind of hard to know, and that's why often standoff and standoff screws are the responsibility of the case, not the motherboard. But fear not, if you've got a case that doesn't have any standoff screws for whatever reason, and then your motherboard doesn't have them either, you could just go out and buy a kit of motherboard standoffs and standoff screws. Like, I picked these up on Amazon for like less than £10, and yeah, they work absolutely fine. These are actually nylon ones, just because I was working on a particular build which needed nylon ones, but you can get metal ones, and it doesn't matter whether you go with metal ones or nylon ones. The idea of standoffs is to prevent shorts, but even with metal ones, that's fine, because if you look at the underside of a motherboard, where you actually put the standoffs, that's a non-conductive area. It's like an isolated area on the motherboard PCB, where it's absolutely fine to use metal standoffs. That's not going to cause a short. If you've got any further questions though, please let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button, and please subscribe to see more short videos like this. Thanks for watching.